I'm the engineering manager here at OpenAI for identity platform. So we think of that as everything auth related. We do both consumer and enterprise. A big set of our focus though is on consumer because getting in the front door of OpenAI, that's the start of everything. From the very start, we think about this as like the front door of our product and the tools that we're building. And so this is often the very first thing that people see is what is your login experience? Like as soon as they get through some of the free tier and unsigned up and people really start to engage, being able to get in and actually start to build a relationship with the tool that we're building is super critical to our success. Being able to have people log in as efficiently and cleanly as possible and build that trust from that very, very first moment of we're treating your data well, we're building a tool that is reliable and secure and that you can really feel confidence in overall. That doesn't happen if you can't get the basics of consumer identity management right. Everything else downstream fails at that point. So much of what we're building and so much of any new tooling system or any new paradigm is about building that trust, and that trust will just immediately evaporate if we don't get this right. As we've continued to grow, both as a company, as a product, and just the sheer number of users, we're quickly outgrowing some of the traditional third-party providers where it makes sense to hand over a fairly complex and fairly important part of your business to somebody who specializes in all the time. And as we were looking at the need to bring a lot of this in-house to gain more control and to gain more flexibility and to just gain a deeper integration with our products and ourselves, what we wanted to do was balance finding a company and a product where they have the maturity to really build confidence, coupled with a flexibility of engineering and willing to work with us to understand our specific use cases and iterate quickly. And finding that balance is typically pretty typical. You have the bigger companies that have been doing this forever, that have an engineering process, they have a stack, and generally the process for changing those up is really often onerous. And then you have newer, hotter startups that are a little more cutting edge. That's not quite where we're at either. Ori and Hydra, there's this nice mix of a lot of security, a lot of confidence, but still being a really great partner and working with us to do the things that we need to do as we brought this stuff in-house. This project originally kicked off in the summer of 2024, where we started doing initial build-outs and everything. And at that time, I believe we were around 200 million weekly active users. As this process came along, by December, when we really started moving traffic onto our internal system, we were up around 300 million. Now, before we've even completed, we've already added another 100 million. So just the idea of trying to swap out behind the scenes so nobody notices the entire login system while also adding 25-30% growth on top of it is definitely added to the challenge of everything they're doing. This is again something we just can't get wrong because it's so critical for the basis that users start to build with our tooling. A lot of providers, you have to buy the whole stack. So there wasn't the right piecemeal as far as how we wanted to fit it in the thing. So we're looking for the right level of abstraction and the right set of tooling for what we need to do. And really pretty quickly, it only came down to a couple people with the right amount of observability we had, having an open source product that we could potentially shift and move it if we need to or build on top of in a pretty clean way. Very, very quickly it became apparent to us that Ori Hydra was probably the player that would most fit our needs. Building a truly modular system that meets customers where they're at is a lot of work. It takes a certain level of business maturity and a certain level of product maturity to be able to do that, but also be able to do that in a flexible way. Because we see a lot of big providers that have really robust identity platform systems, but you either use it all or there's nothing. There's no self-hosted, there's nothing. They're working in that world. And we see a lot of very small kind of niche open source projects and stuff and the like that have a community around them, and they're good, but for the scale and security requirements that we had didn't really fit the bill. And so finding that sweet spot of a product and company with that maturity and also having the business sense and the engineering backing to actually have it broken apart to be able to kind of pick and choose what works in our stack and where we want to slot various things and what tooling we need was really important to us. Very quickly, when you start to hit a scaling size, where you want the level of control that we do, and issues with handing off to a third party, where you lose some amount of observability, you lose some amount of control in terms of the roadmap of what the identity provider will give to you. And obviously using something like Hydra, technically we give up a little bit of that, but it was countered by the fact that we don't have to build this whole thing. We don't have to invest in engineering. So again, for a fast growing company, if they're in a similar position, I would definitely recommend looking for this type of solution for them as well, because it helps you scale to that next level. At OpenAI, we have a very strong engineering team, and we could hire a team to do a lot of this stuff in-house. But the question is that the right focus for us as an organization and a team? And looking at Ori, Hydra, and like the expertise you guys bring to the table from years of experience, and this literally being your job and your business dependent on it, really means that we can rely on you for expertise. Your support staff has been really good at responding wherever we want to meet you, whether it's email, Slack, getting you guys in meetings if we need to. Just earlier today, we were meeting with one of your support engineers about a migration issue that we're going through and work through exactly the path that we can take forward. So in terms of money well spent and leveraging our business in the right way, you guys, I feel like have overall accelerated our ability to execute as a larger engineering organization. As companies are hitting the same point that we were, do you want to work with a trusted partner? And I think you guys also having both a hosted solution that folks could start on, and then having this ability to come into a self-hosted solution if they continue to grow and want to kind of change how their identity system is working, how much of it they want to bring in-house. Having those steps actually makes the growth progression really convenient and really helps meet customers where they're at. And I think overall working with your team has been very satisfying. You've been very responsive. You've done changes that we've asked for in a very timely manner. So it's been overall great working with you all. Knowing that we have Hydra behind the scenes, we're going to be able to build the UI and auth provider that we actually want and really push forward both our consumer and enterprise products in terms of their ability to support users, our ability to improve reliability from where we're at, our ability to improve performance. We see straight lines to each one of those objectives going forward.